Who's atop the Big 12 and who is at the floor heading into week 6 of the college football season? Anthony Totri, Eric Ruby from PHNX Sun Devils. Let's dive right into it. Rubus, who do you have 16, 15, 14, and 13 in the Big 12 as it stands right now?
It's a murderer's row of teams. I got Oklahoma State coming in at 16. I've got the University of Colorado at 15. And then at 14, I've got UCF. And at 13, I've got West Virginia. Honestly, you can shuffle all 4 of these teams around, and I wouldn't really care.
Kind of surprised you don't have Kansas State anywhere.
They won.
I know. But
oh, don't worry. You're going to see Kansas State soon enough.
They haven't looked very good. Look, this is the back half of what I've got here in my Big 12 power rankings. Oklahoma State at 16. 15 is West Virginia. UCF at 14. And then Kansas State. They do rise because they get the win, but Eric, they're still a bad football team.
Yeah, no, they are still a bad football team. You're not going to have to wait long to see Kansas State for mine if you want to keep it ripping and go at number 12 here. At number 12, I do have Kansas State.
Wow, there you go.
So they're one higher than you. Again, this is still the bottom rung of the Big 12. At number 11, I've got the University of Arizona moving down after getting absolutely romped by Iowa State. Moving up one after U of A, I've got Kansas. Kansas staying put for me. I like Kansas, but they did lose a game to Rip Sorsby.
Yeah.
Jalen Daniels putting up 500 yards exactly on offense. So you can't go far from Kansas to Cincinnati. So give me Cincinnati at number 9.
Very interesting that you have Cincinnati sitting at number 9. I thought you'd have them maybe a little bit higher considering what Rip Sorsby has been able to accomplish as of late. Soon we'll see
Once
the rise.
They beat Iowa State this week.
The rise of Brendan Sorsby. Look, this is what I've got still continuing with some of the lower level teams in the conference. I do have Colorado, a team that needs to figure it out if they have any hope of getting to a Big 12 championship still here in 2025. I've got the Arizona Wildcats, who were put in their place by Iowa State last week. I've got Kansas at 10, falling after a heartbreaking loss to Cincinnati. And then I do have Houston sitting at number 9. I know they're undefeated, but I'm still waiting on Connor Weigman and company to actually play somebody. This past week, they squeaked out a win against a really, really bad Oregon State squad.
Yeah. I'm giving benefit of the doubt to the undefeated teams.
That's
You'll
fair.
see that
That's fair.
A little bit later. Yeah, Cincinnati's good for sure. It's tough to balance power rankings as, who won, who beat who, what's the record, and just how good do I think you are? Well, I still think TCU is a better football program than these other teams, but they did lose this week, so I have them in at number 8 and number 7. I have Baylor, who also has a conference loss, but they did beat up on the worst team in the conference. At number 6, I have Utah, who does drop despite winning, but they do have a loss in conference, which does matter. And then coming in number 5, I have Houston, right? Houston is still undefeated no matter how you want to go around it. I think Houston certainly is the most likely out of the top teams in the Big 12 to drop off. Maybe them and BYU, who we'll get to here in a second, but they are undefeated. They do not have a conference loss, and that does matter.
Clearly, you weigh the wins and losses like more recently. I feel like, and obviously you're giving a lot of benefit of the doubt to the undefeated teams, right?
It's a power ranking. It's not who's the best team.
It is, but I think when we're talking like what teams are doing on a week-to-week basis, you also have to remember what they've done throughout the first several weeks of the season. I think mine is a little bit more reflective on that. Maybe we got different approaches there. I do have Cincinnati at number 8 here. Really interested to see what Brendan Sorsby and company do this week. I do have Baylor falling at number 7. They do drop despite beating Oklahoma State. I don't think there is a team in this conference, in all honesty, that has given them more points than the Baylor Bears this season. That defense is bad, and it's scary if you're a Bears fan. I have TCU sitting at number 6. I know they lost, but they lost to a really good team in Arizona State. Josh Hoover still looks like a huge threat at quarterback. And then I have BYU sitting at number 5, still undefeated on the season, but you got to prove it. You got to show me that you can beat a real relevant opponent, and they haven't. They haven't done that in my eyes. So that's why I've got them sitting at number 5.
I just don't see as big of a gap between Houston and BYU. I think they're both undefeated and they both haven't really played anybody. Yeah. I guess you could say that.
You have Houston at 5, I have Houston at 9. So.
Yeah, which is it's probably one of our more significant
100%. And I know Houston fans aren't going to like it because guess what? Houston's undefeated. So why
and that's where I think we disagree. But again, I'm not going to get mad.
Now, real quick, Houston. Do you think Houston would beat TCU?
No.
Do you think Houston would beat Baylor?
No, but I also, again, but like I said, these are power rankings. Yeah. These aren't who are the best team.
It goes. I'm not going to argue with you on the
Well, it seems like you are
rankings.
arguing with me. So let's go to number 4 on mine, continuing with the undefeated nature. I've got BYU at 4, but I think 4 and 5 are worse teams than 6, 7, and 8. So
interesting.
That's where I feel like, but power rankings wise, they're undefeated in conference. They got wins. Like, you got to give them respect. BYU is a ranked team as well. Speaking of ranked teams, somebody back in the top 25, your Arizona State Sun Devils, I have going up to number 3, 4-1 on the season, undefeated in conference, taking down 2. At this point, top 10 teams in the power rankings and probably top 6 teams in the conference in Baylor and TCU in fun fashion, but not dominant fashion. At number 2, I've got Iowa State dropping down. Yes, they beat Arizona, but these are also dropping down because I didn't do a power rankings last week. Yeah. So they were 1 2 weeks ago. I would have had Texas Tech number 1 last week, Texas Tech number 1 this week. No surprises there. But, I feel like we're going to see some pretty similar 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 100%. The trio at the top is the same for me. The only difference is I have Utah sitting at number 4. I think Devin Dampier, Kyle Whittingham, they are a really good football team. I know they got rocked a few weeks back by Texas Tech. I think they're a team and a program that is going to rebound. I've got Arizona State at number 3, Iowa State at 2, Texas Tech at 1. Nothing changes 1, 2, 3 there. I get it. Arizona State, in my eyes, beat a better team than Iowa State did this past week, but I'm not going to knock Iowa State simply for beating a worse team in the fashion that they did. If you're going to beat a bad team, you got to beat the brakes off of them. Yeah. And that's what Iowa State did. For you, Eric, which one do you disagree with the most on my power rankings?
I think it's Houston at 9.
Houston at 9?
I mean, Houston at 9, that means that they're a bottom half team in this conference as far as power ranking goes. And they're one of 2 undefeated. I get not one of 2 undefeated, but they're 2 undefeated teams. Obviously, them and BYU, when you loop them together, do we believe in them as far as contenders in the Big 12? No. But again, we're power ranking what we've seen so far. And so far, Houston has been a better than a bottom half of the Big 12 team.
Yeah, I understand it. I hear you there. I would say my biggest gripe with yours is probably Utah at 6.
It's fair.
Devin Dampier and Utah, again, they've absolutely trounced everybody that they've played except Texas Tech.
Sure.
So I think Utah's a top 4 team in this conference. But you guys, let us know in the comments, which team do you think is too high? Which team is too low? And what do you think of the Arizona State Sun Devils coming in at number 3 on both of our power rankings? Are they better or are they worse than Iowa State and Texas Tech? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on the PHNX Sun Devils Power Rankings.